Hello and welcome to season 2. I think I got the right mic on, yes. Hello and welcome to season 2, episode 38 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I'm your host, Clare Rowley. And today we're doing part 2 of my Hello Kitty door or wall hanging pattern. That is a free pattern inside of Create with Clare Rowley, which is my free online school found at create.clarerowley.com. And today I thought I'd dress up for the occasion since I'm making a kitty outfit, and I happen to have made a video inside of my channel for making these ears. And these are freestanding ears, so there isn't a headband to clamp against your head should you want to dress up as a cat or a bunny or any other animal, because I came up with a technique where you can use used or normally thrown away water bottles to form any shape ear you want and have a lightweight ear on your head. And that you'll find inside of my YouTube channel under the Creative Notions playlist. So when you go to my channel, and if you see my circle and you see my face in it, you click on that and you subscribe to my channel, well, then inside of there you'll see below the main header of my channel, you'll see playlist. Click on that and then look for the Creative Notions actual playlist, and you'll find my ears, and you'll also find a shirt where I make spider webs out of a black shirt. Well, I incorporate or add spider webs by cutting holes in a shirt and then making the spider webs in the holes. And because, you know, it's fun to dress up no matter how old we get, isn't it? So hi, Susan. You're back to being home to watch the show. Welcome back. And Mary B. You're so cute. Best buddies. And hello, Sylvia from Kissimmee. Last week was your first time, so you haven't missed the part 1. And if you look at this, it looks really strange unless you were watching last week. Hi, Karen Dean. And let's see, Tina J. Reliable Tina. Always here. Hi, Lorinda. Nice to have you back again. And Amy from Better Days. Another reliable regular. And hi, Sharon. Nice to have you back. Hi, everybody. You know, it's so much easier to start the show when I know a whole week ahead what I'm going to do, and it's sitting on my table ready to do. And this is what we've got going on here. For those of you lurking and not signed in to the chat, this is our cover-up, which is a vinyl, and this one is white vinyl that I drew the pattern face out on, like you see here. It's a fun pattern, isn't it? And this is neon or glow in the dark thread. This thread literally glows in the dark. So that is what you see here, and why this white stuff is there is because this is 1/4 inch thick fur. And if you can imagine trying to get your thread to show up on 1/4 inch thick fur without our fabric cover or cover up, as we call it, the panda bear is the one you look for when you go to our website. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to do something you can't see me trying to do because it's on another screen. Here's the screen. So this is the school. And I don't know why it has all those things behind it. I'm trying to get to the website. Hi, Sylvia. You love my kitty ears? So my cat ears used to be like, they look like donkey ears. They were way too big, and I made them shorter this morning. All right, so when we go here, we go to products, go to stabilizers. This is creativefeet.com. This is my main website where you buy the stuff that you see me use, or one of the places you can buy it. If you don't find it at a dealer of Creative Feet products. So the Panda Bear is the one you look for. And it comes in these little, you can get 6-inch size rolls in 20 and 60 feet lengths, or you can go all the way up to 18-inch rolls and up to 60 feet per roll in those. And you have all the different colors, and you match this to the color thread. And this is how your thread ends up perfect on fabrics that are contrasting in color. You want to start out, if you're not thinking you're going to need a whole roll of anything, these are the starter packs, and they come in primary and they come in blending colors. And it's very affordable when you think about it, and completely permanent, unlike our water-soluble stabilizers that wash away. Stick and tear is used in the back side of the hoop, which is our tree frog. And it comes in a wide variety of sizes, which we're limited on right now because, well, we are just limited on our stick and tear right now. But we are in the middle of waiting for our run to be completed by the company that takes our products and mixes it up and turns it into this magic that my dad invented over almost 30 years ago now. So if you guys have familiarity with the hoop at all, and or the stick and tear SIA, what was the other name for? He had originally had it out as stick. I think it was stick it all. Well, donkey ears didn't go with the nose, so I chopped off the ears and made it shorter, and now I have cat ears. I probably could have made another set as fast as, or in the same amount of time it took me to hand sew it back together. All right. Hi, Iris from Illinois. Welcome to our trick or treat lesson on this Hello Kitty wall hanging, and right now it's attached to the stick and tear that is attached to the octi-hoops, smallest of the 3 that you get in a set of 3 octi-hoops if you don't already have them. I'm also going to use them for quilting today. I don't have anywhere to be after this, so if it runs late, I will stay with you guys. Hopefully it won't run too late though. I did some sewing since last week because my father, we're helping him with his house right now, my family and I. And he had a shirt sitting somewhere, and I said, "What's this doing?" And he goes, "Well, it just needs some mending." And I go, "Well, I can mend it." He goes, "Well, I was going to do it." And I go, "What? You don't trust me?" And he says, "Of course I trust you." So I fixed his shirt, and that is why I have to change thread. Otherwise, this would have been completely ready where I left off from last week. So I'm changing my thread because I used thread that matched his shirt. And the thread that I'm using is 40 weight polyester thread that is neon. And in the bobbin, I was using the lingerie thread in black, I think. I'll take a peek. Actually, I used the lingerie in white because I was using the light colors of thread. And so what we want to do, let me unplug this. What we always want to think about is we want the bobbin thread to, if not match the top when we're doing free motion, or we at least want it to be in a similar tone. So dark gray would work with a wide variety of different colors. So with the black in the lingerie thread, because the black lingerie thread is it's kind of translucent, so it blends with the colors. So does the white. So if you guys look at the back side of this, see if I can show you on the close camera. Uh-oh. Why aren't you ready? It was ready a minute ago. That was weird. Huh. That was funny. Oh, it needs a memory card, I guess. It's not going to let me run it without it. I'll have to run and get a memory card. I'll be right back. And when I do leave for moments like this, I have something to let people know when they're popping in that you're not just sitting here staring at a blank screen. I'll be right back. I forgot I took it out. All right, memory card. Oh, I've got the wrong camera on. You don't need to see my face that close, do you? There. Are you not focused anymore? I don't know. Has there been a week yet where I didn't have some technical difficulties? I actually thought I might need to put the memory card back in, but then it didn't act like it. I also bought myself something for my floor to roll around on, and I forgot to put it down on the floor. We'll try it out next week. All right. Trying to find my bobbin I used last week. Oh, that's right. It was white. That is not the right size bobbin. Where are all my bobbins? I'm a lot more organized than I used to be once upon a time. There's my lingerie bobbin in black. Because I can see by looking at a thread what kind of thread it is. What are you guys looking at? I need whiskers. I have the little dots, but the cat has whiskers. Or the pattern, which we're going to do. Oh, I should have left the white thread in. That's what you guys are trying to tell me, huh? So the whiskers is going to be interesting because I have the, let me show you. Remember, I hadn't made this before, so we have the fur beneath and the whiskers go almost, they go past his face. However, I haven't appliqued yet around the cat. So I'm going to try to stay just on the fur with him. And I guess I'm going to go back to white thread because I'll do the whiskers first. Because otherwise you aren't going to see any whiskers on this kitty's face, right? Should I do white or should I have the whiskers be a glow in the dark color? I ate lunch at the right time, so I should be okay. I'm not sipping on a shake this week, you guys. So what do you think? Like a teal whisker, or should I go with a cream color or a white? It's a black cat. Should I go with the same color I used for the eyes and do like this green color? Help me. I need help deciding. I'm leaning toward teal because I love teal. I think I'm going to do teal. Save you guys from having to type since you guys apparently aren't in the typing mood. I'm not seeing any typing in a while. You wish you could see, so I'm not seeing. Oh, that is the last one. I'm doing teal. But thank you for suggesting green. And then white, I don't know. Because the moon is behind, and I really want the whiskers to show. And if it was dark, you wouldn't. My ears are itching. I'm going to use this teal color. Oops. What is on your sewing table? This is something I ask you each week. I like to see what you guys are doing. Why is this thread not coming out? Oh, my hand was on it. It's going to be a day like that, I guess. Tinkerbell sound asleep in her bed, being a good dog. I started doing this liver cleanse because I had, well, they said I had a fatty liver. And I'm like, well, can't have that. And the suggestion was to drink celery juice every day. And I got a perfect checkup yesterday. No more fatty liver. It's all gone. It's super exciting. I'm not really fond of celery, but I've grown to like it now. 2 weeks of doing it. I try not to have too much personal information, but I'm just so excited to have that gone. It's such an awful thing to have someone tell you you have. There we go. Why didn't it thread the needle? That's your job. Wow, that's tight tension. So I'm going to run this thread at 1 number less than normal. It does feel like it's a little thicker than 40 weight to me, but that's what they say it is. So it may be the whatever it is that glows makes it drag slower through the machine. Back to the white lingerie and the bobbin, which was sitting right here. Doggy bandanas. Those are fun to make. I was going to do one of those, but it'd be a really short Fabrically Speaking live to just make a doggy bandana, wouldn't it? For those of you who don't know, the octi-hoops are a set of 3 frames that I developed to help everybody do free motion. And if you watch last week's, which I will have linked from this video when we're done going live today, you can watch last week's episode where I show you getting the hoop all ready. And one of the things we're able to do with the octi-hoops is not use a foot on the machine. So I am going to remove the sewing machine foot. Whoops. Oh. Why is that on this one? It shouldn't be. I don't understand. That's not supposed to be there. Okay. All these little technical things. Get the mic out of the way. This is my little toucan saying hello. Hello to all of you, little toucan. So I'm loosening and removing the adapter that comes with the machine that enables me to snap feet on to the machine. So even though this comes with your machine, it's still considered a snap-on adapter. Otherwise, you would screw your feet onto your machine using a post like this. And I suggest putting things like that away. And I put this on the thread where my thread is supposed to go, up here. So when you see, whenever you see me take a foot on or remove a foot, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting it on where the spool of thread normally goes, because I don't put the thread on my machine. I put the thread on my thread stand that's sitting to the side of me, and that's my thread dispenser, which is in stock right now, in case you tried to order before when we were out of stock on those. All right. The nice thing about using the octi-hoops is you get a little handle and you're able to draw, and you're able to put your arms down and rest. Sharon, on the 1/4 inch seam allowance, I have the needle in the left needle position. It is required to have your needle in the left needle position in order to get the guide a 1/4 inch away from the needle. But outside of that, that's the only time it's required, is when you're trying to achieve a 1/4 inch. We use the Satinedge foot for so many different things, not just straight stitch. So that would, what do they say? Never say never. And I never do anything always is usually my answer for things like that. So this little handle is going to drop in to one of the holes under here. This is our hold light stabilizer that is attached to the back or the main body of the fabric to keep it from getting puckered as I do the applique on top. And it looks like it got a little disconnected. It's not held on as well as it should. So before I do the applique, which is when you stitch around a piece of fabric on top of another fabric to permanently join it. One of the things that happened last week is I realized that in doing this hat in the design that I did using the needle turn applique technique, that the hat is actually going to be 3-dimensional and sticking up above the cat, which I think is absolutely adorable, and I wish I could take credit for it, but it was kind of like oh wow, look at that. Look what I accidentally did. So I'm going to stop at the edge of the face because I have to stitch over the cat, and then I need those whiskers to go back over that, to go back over. The way I'm going to applique is to use yarn. So we're going to stitch yarn around the cat, and that gives it the same thickness or similar thickness to how thick the yarn is. It makes it so we don't have to do as short a stitch length, and it's really fast. This will be done using the sequins and ribbon foot, which allows us to insert yarns into the tube. So that's coming up. One of my ears is falling off, you guys. I banged it on the microphone. Okay, here we go. I don't know if I got a close enough angle here. I'm going to do something though, because I don't want to hit the hoop, which is not far from the edge of that. So I'm going to draw where the cheek ends. And the reason I'm still stitching on it is because the thread would never show up on the fur alone. So even though, I don't know, we'll see how well this works. Remember, this was not my plan. Gotta get my glasses on. My plan was not to use fur. I was going to do just cotton, but then last week, for those of you who are watching, you know that I evolved this into I'm going to try fur. Why not? Lower the foot, even though we don't have one on the machine. If you don't have tension on the thread. I'm going to go ahead and Am I on a whisker? Nope, I'm not on a whisker. Can't do that. Ah, once again, I'm way far away from... Oops. Here we go. Bring the bobbin thread up. If you can, and I cut it too short again. I think it is there though. Where are my tweezers? I should have t-shirts made up. Where are my tweezers? Where are my glasses? Sewing with Clare. Oh, I just tipped it, so I lost the bobbin thread. Oh well. This machine does not require my bobbin thread be up. And I'm going to do like a little circle. I don't know how well this is going to go, so just remember I never did this before. It's not stitching, so I got to bring that bobbin thread up. So if you can't get your machine to stitch, you may have to, no matter what, bring that bobbin thread up. I might have to do a little zigzag stitch over this. Hi, Veronica. Come on. I wish I had longer arms. Oh, boy, you're 58. Quit wishing for things you know you can't have. Or this little voice in my head goes, if wishes were fishes. I'm looking in and around this microphone and the light. Trying to make it so you can see. I think that camera changed. Oh, I forgot to lower the feed dogs. Which is not required. I'm going to move this handle over to the other hole. I am going to lower it because it's better for the camera to not have the feed dogs banging against the back of the fabric, but you can sew with the octi-hoops without the feed dogs up. So I'm going over it again. And since it is mine, and I want you to know, yeah, I think I'm just gonna do another row and try not to be right on top of it. So I'm making my whisker a little wider without having to use a zigzag stitch. And I'm gonna jet over to the other side and do it again. And the reason is because this is fur and it's gonna probably drop in a little bit. I gotta mute because I got a cough. There is some fuzzy stuff floating around in here. Instead of tying another knot or bringing the bobbin thread up, I'm going to hop over and I'm going to cut that carryover stitch afterward. All right, well, hopefully I'm done coughing. Sorry for the sniffling. All of a sudden I'm having like an allergic thing going on. We have so much grass up here from all the rain we've had. What I'm doing, for those of you who have not seen me use the octi-hoops before, is I'm writing or drawing using that green handle. So this hand is just holding this stabilizer down, this white one, the cover up. And I'm actually drawing. Oh, there's two handles. No wonder I couldn't get it to. I don't need two handles. That's why I couldn't get the fabric to sit down. And my hand is resting on the machine as I draw. So that's why I have such good coordination to go back and forth over that line. I think I did it 4 times. Now I'm going to hop over here. Elbows down. Shoulders relaxed. And go as slow as you need. Don't so fast. A lot of people, when they do free motion, feel like they have to go really fast. The thread shredded because I sat too long in one spot. So I have to rethread. Here we go. Go back. And it's a straight stitch, so kind of just coming back and forth a little bit gives you a knot, or makes a knot. If you're worried about a stitch coming out, you can always leave your thread long and bring it through a hand sewing needle and take it down through the fabric and tie it off on the back side of your project. It doesn't look like teal to me right now. It looks like blue. Oh, there's just something about playing with these hoops. I just always feel so relaxed. So much fun. All right, done with that side. Now we're gonna do the other side. Since I'm hopping up over that far, lift the foot, and it feels like something got caught. There you go. How can I make it so you can see? This little pin has to come out of there. Feel free to ask questions as I do this. I'm here to answer your questions. And if you're lurking in the background, know that it's okay that you're not playing in the chat, but at some point you might want to join in. Everybody's really sweet. Sometimes I think I can get away with just pulling the thread out a little, and I can't. All right, so I pulled out more of it this time. Okay, so I had to sneeze. I'm back. Hopefully I'm done with the allergic reaction to whatever. When I went and got my checkup, they said I was having problems with the grass. And I was like, well, it's good that you know, I am in agreement with what it is that I'm having trouble with. I was pretty sure it was that. And my poor little Tinkerbell's been sneezing too. So we have 4 whiskers. I hope you can see well enough right now. What's frustrating to me is that you can't see as fast as the machine runs, because it only captures what's is it 60 frames per second, and a sewing machine, well, requires like 120 frames per second for you to really see it all. It's not liking me to sew backwards, so I'm going to switch to this side and sew side to side. Which is probably because of the cover-up. So now you can see it has to do with the anatomy of the sewing machine needle. And honestly, I think I changed the needle. Should be using that Super 9014 Universal, going through all of this fur. It's a lot of fiber to go through for this needle. Okay, so now we have, I don't know what I just dropped. On the eyes, I have the black of the eye and the white of the eye, and then there's this eyelashes, and I think I'm going to make the eyelashes, should I make the eyelashes blue or should I make them black? Remember, we have these glow-in-the-dark threads that I'm trying to use up. So I think I may use the blue. And this is how they have their thread now. They didn't always do this. The end of the thread is in the middle instead of on the bottom. How are you all doing? Did you guys find the pattern in the school? And I need to be clear about, or explain the school a little better, I think, because someone was confused. She was like, I can't really afford to join your school. And I said, oh, it's free. and what it is a social media platform, but it's private. And you have access to me. So people have, like on Saturday, they're sewing. It's 8 o'clock at night. And they have a question and they ask it in the school. And my phone texts me. And if I'm not busy in that moment, I text back the answer. So it's a very intimate way of staying in connection or in contact with all of you, so that you don't have to wait until Monday business hours to get an answer from me. And know that I do not mind you asking, because if I don't have time, I don't do it. And my phone is set to quiet, so it doesn't wake me up if I'm sleeping or anything. Okay, so now the blue around the eyes. These glasses match my pattern. Oh, the silly things I get pleasure out of. Get the hat out of the way. Lower the foot. Okay, so I'm going to, I don't know what I said, Sharon. You're welcome. So the idea is to have this tear away clean afterward. So I'm doing straight stitches so that will cut clean away. You know, a while ago I said this machine needed service and I took it off set for a long time. I never got it in there, so it still needs service. Do you guys procrastinate sending your babies off to the sewing machine service? So I'm using a straight stitch and going side to side. It's a lot easier to control it that way. Getting caught, and I think that's just something that needs to be serviced. That happens. But of course I am going through fur fabric and this cover up. Free motion without a foot. So this is a challenge for any sewing machine. I think I'm going to go all the way around the eye with it. The longer your stitches, the further, in other words, the faster you move your hands based on the speed of the machine. So if the machine is running slower and you move your hands faster, you're going to get longer stitches, which will cover up more in fewer stitches, which is good for this thickness and the fur beneath it. And I have my thread shredding again. I didn't have any shredding last week. So now you know that happens to even me. And there's lots of reasons that that happens. Oh, didn't I use a foot last week? I did. Huh? That's why I'm having shredding this week. Last week I used a foot. This week I'm not. Right, Amy? So I didn't have any shredding last week, and I used the free motion foot. I used this foot. And it has the half moon. So I'm going to do this half with the foot. Because sometimes people think I never use a foot, and I don't want you to think that. Sometimes you do. You know, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like a foot, sometimes you don't. And it's that shredding that we try to eliminate or reduce. So I always tighten that foot down, and always tighten that screw that holds your needle bar in place as well. Not too tight, because you can break that screw off. And then you got to get yourself a whole new needle bar screw and maybe a clamp, or take it in to have a mechanic drill out that screw. That's no fun. But simple finger tight is not enough, because your whole foot assembly can start loose, can bang it, as it hits that needle bar and it loosens. The needle can fall off while you're in motion, and that's scary. All right, lower the foot. Here we are. Handle's back in the hole on the frame. Glasses back on. I feel like I changed the angle. Oh, I did, because make sure there's no pins, because I don't normally have pins anyway, but so now we'll see how this goes. So Sylvia, you just go to create.clarerowley.com, which is in the description of all of the videos. So after we're done going live, or you can close the live chat and go into the description to click on the link, and I just say free online school in the description. And you join, create a profile, and make sure you set yourself up to get notifications. If you don't, you won't be notified when things happen in there. And if you do take a class that costs money, you're going to want to not miss any of the posts that I make to that particular group. So see, no thread shredding this time. Just by putting the foot on. And I think I'm going to look at the other eye and see if I need to clean it up and make it look a little better. It looks like I could put a little bit more thread on the top on this side. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. That's the mantra. Oh no, look at that. The toe got stuck underneath there. And it wouldn't let me go. And then I broke my thread because I sat on it too long because I couldn't move the fabric. And it shredded again. But now you know why the shreds happen. Are you guys procrastinators? I think I'm done with the blue. Yeah, because I stitched to the cheek. So actually I want to put white in, or yeah, I'm going to do the white circle, and then I'm going to do the, should I do black or should I make the pupil? I guess I got to do black. I mean, I'm leaning toward cutting it away and seeing, because there's black fur, but it's too puffy. I think it would look silly. right? This fur is really fluffy. Right before I went live, all of a sudden a big chunk of fur went right into to my eye. I'm like, not now. So something's tickling me. Oh well. If I have time, I'm going to bind this thing today. And I was thinking about using the faux binding technique. We'll see. I'll do whatever's fastest because it's a Halloween thing. Okay, white thread. That's what I'm doing. Where is it? So one of these is cream and the other one is white. I guess I'm going to use regular black thread because they don't have black glow-in-the-dark thread for the pupil. It's probably stuck in my hair. Did you drop your elbows? Everybody sit up straight, elbows down, shoulders relaxed. I was thinking about having coaching videos. You know how they have meditation videos that help you to meditate it, and then there's motivational videos, and some of the things that I would teach in a classroom setting would be to get yourself ready for doing things. And one of the things that you need to get ready for is belief in yourself, believing that you can do these things. What do you guys think? It would be kind of like an audio chat coaching videos in the school, which would be in the YouTube channel as well, so that you actually do what you're watching me do instead of one day maybe I'll try it. Because a lot of the reason you guys don't try these things is because you believe you can't do it. Raise your hand if you believe you can't do what I'm doing. If you have the courage to do that. You don't have any... Did you buy the glow-in-the-dark threads, Amy, and you don't have the white? Is that what you're saying? All right, I got the white thread in, but this is a big needle, and it's a very small circle. And there's no way that I can sew around this circle with that big of a needle and that thick of thread and have it and move it at all. I mean, it's just, I might be able to get 4 stitches in. So I'm going to tell you how to resolve that. I'm going to use a straight stitch to tie a knot, and then I'm going to use a zigzag stitch that's about a 2 millimeter wide and just kind of sit in one spot, and it's going to build up a bump of thread. And the little dot is this, you know, there's the black pupil, and then there's that little dot that shows the light reflecting on the eye of the cat. And that's my thought anyway, to do the zigzag stitch. I may change my mind because, you know, I do have this foot on. Okay, so I am able to go around, and now I'm going to do a zigzag stitch without a zigzag stitch by moving the hoop in a zigzag motion. And that's it. I only got, that's it. So you can see not very many stitches before it's too much thread for such a small space. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. So the circle, go back and forth, slow the machine down. And if I made it so you couldn't see, I'm really sorry about that. So now I'm going to switch to black thread for the pupil. And we're almost done with the face, you guys. Time for the reveal. If you haven't used our cover-up before, you're probably going, I can't wait till she peels off that white stuff so I can see how it looks. Come on, thread. There we go. Cutting that carryover thread. These are not my the smallest Applique scissors because I didn't find them from last week. Okay, I'm grabbing a black thread. Uh-oh, one of my ears fell off. I'm going to use this really dark purple instead, because then it'll contrast with the fur a little bit. Let's see if my ears are on straight. This one fell off. I look like I'm upset. My dog Tinkerbell is a miniature Yorkie and Jack Russell Terrier mix. And she does the cutest thing. Sometimes I think it's when she feels emotional about something. She has one ear as a Yorkie and the other ear curls down and becomes a Jack Russell. And it's this cute little bend in her ear. And then in that moment, she is both breeds. What's crazy? I don't know what you guys are saying. If you want it back, you got to come get it. I don't remember what I said. I'm going to hop in my car and come down to Phoenix and deliver. Right now, I'm waiting on Applique's order that's been sitting in Phoenix for over a week. And after calling them and everything, not Applique, but the shipper, so many delays in our supply chain. I wouldn't wait to the last minute for anything right now. Well, it took me a while to get to the end of that thread, but I managed it. Isn't it a lovely color? All you purple lovers. You don't have any white thread, Amy? I went through a phase like that and I was so frustrated every time I wanted white thread. And that's one of the reasons I was really wanting to carry thread, because I would never be out of any color ever again. Neener, neener, neener. But you know what? There was a time when I was out of Satinedge feet and someone begged me to sell mine. And for the first time in over 30 years, I did not have a Satinedge foot on. It only happened once in the history of the company that we completely sold out of Satinedge feet. Pressers are another thing that I have had none because people talked me into giving them mine or selling them mine. I love watching you guys interact with each other. All right, so you know how the iris tends to stick up past the white of the eye, or maybe it doesn't, but it kind of looks more like a ball than the rest of the eye. I got to put this in a hole. Where is it? There we go. I'm going to go around the iris or the pupil, and then I'm going to do a wide stitch so it sticks up a little bit. Man, it was freezing in here a minute ago. Now I'm hot. Gotta turn on the... Luckily, I have a Nest for my air conditioner and heater. Ooh, yeah. I think I'm also gonna go do this. And at night, it's not gonna... Oh, man. Please let me get away with this. I'll have to cut that after. Yeah, it's time to take this machine in. All right. super slow machine. See, it's not even running. Move it over. Move it over. It's easier if you reduce your speed control. I'm just tapping on my foot control. So I'm doing really wide stitches. And this would definitely not be a time when you would want your needle to stop down, even though you may be thinking, why doesn't she lower her needle? Because if you're not in the right spot and your needles drops down, then you don't end up with the same uniformity on the stitch. This is definitely easier to do side to side. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Nope, it's easier to do it this way for me because I have so much in front of my line of sight. If I don't talk, I can go faster. You can also fill it in first with straight stitches, kind of scribble. And then when you think you've got most of it covered, then you just do the big stitches. And I would reduce your needle thread tension when doing these longer stitches. It's got a loud noise because we're going through so many thicknesses. Okay. It's looking like a cat, you guys. How fun. All right, now the other side. Lift the foot to move over. Clean it up. Too many tails. So, thinking about doing a retreat next year up here in Prescott at the Prescott Retreat. Actually, the Prescott Resort. It's a casino. What time of year would you guys like me to do something like that? Okay, fill it in first. It's a lot quicker that way. So I'm just zigzagging. No, I'm not. I'm straight stitch, but I'm moving the hoop in a left and right direction to kind of mostly fill it in. Now I go big stitches over that all the way from one side to the other, not stitching over that white in the eye. And that gives it a little bit of a bigger bump. Now go around the blue again. Ah, got stuck again. Dang it. Stop it. Be nice to the sewing machine. It's done so much since the last time it was serviced. Oh, well, both eyes have that little knot. Okay, cut the thread. Time for the reveal of the face. Trying to think of which camera would be best. Probably this one. Do we need anything? Nope, I stitched it all. So now when I tear this, what I do is I tear toward the design, but I should really clip all those threads. Where are my itty bitty scissors? This is the medium size of the 3 scissor sizes that we offer. Trying to do this so you can see. What is that thing that I barely ever use? Oh yeah, a seam ripper. I know I own one. Oh, you know what else I can use for this? Just a pin. And you just kind of slide it along as you pull to help it tear. You don't want to have little teeny weeny pieces stuck. This is where I thought I might regret doing it around the whiskers. Whenever I do something I haven't done in a long time or ever, I tend to be quiet. Here's another thing. Vinyl shrinks when it gets hot. So if you have little feathers of the stabilizer showing along the edges of anything, then you just take a blow dryer and bring it up to it and on a hot setting, and it shrinks that vinyl right into the embroidery. So how long is too long for a retreat? I was thinking of having it start on a Thursday. Everyone arrives Thursday. And Thursday night I do like a social and maybe speak, give you guys something to laugh about, tell you little stories, and have you bring your sewing machines in and get set up. And then we can all have dinner together. And then Friday is Start Sewing Day. And I'm going to have projects that help you to use all of the Creative Feet products. And then the classroom will be open all night. So for some of you who like to sew, you can, it shows who entered the room with the key card kind of thing. And we sew all day Saturday as well and half of Sunday. And then you guys head home. What do you think? Does that sound like a good timeline? I mean, to teach everything that the Creative Feet do, it actually takes about a week. And I know you guys don't have that much time. I have a retreat right now. This would be a good time, wouldn't it? Next year. Okay, what do I have? Oh yeah, my really cool little tool that I have no idea where I got it. Where is it? Where is this long screwdriver? Need something underneath that. And you just kind of pull up. It's so fuzzy. It makes all the difference in the world, you guys, this cover up. You have a week. I end up so exhausted though. I have taught the Creative Feet workbook, and it was a week. And by the end of the week, I barely resemble myself because it's so exhausting to teach that many hours. And it's 8 hours a day, pretty much. An hour break for lunch. But it's amazing. I don't think anyone else was ready to go home. They were like, keep going. I did something. It's like sticking, this thumb. It's because I'm trying to do this on the machine. I'm going to pull it down and do it on the top. Use the top camera. It's still connected to the machine. Bobbin thread. There we go. What do you think, guys? Isn't it cute? You just gotta be brave. This is working really good. This is a serger screwdriver from an old serger. I think it was a Bernina serger. Pretty sure. Where's my tweezers? I just had them. This is silly. They can't be anywhere but here. There they are. And these are the Applique tweezers. They are the best for this kind of thing. Because they're flat, and when you squeeze them, this extra bend in there makes them give you more strength in holding these thin things that are harder for me to grab than they used to be. This is the boring part of the live show. So are any of you going to do this for Halloween? Huh? Or are you just going to go, no, we just like to watch you work? We get lots of trick-or-treaters here, so I'm excited to have something cute for my door. And I keep thinking about a spider to open between the screen door and the front door. Something that like drops down, but maybe I'd scare the little ones too much by having that. If you're just coming into the video right now and you're watching, this is Fabrically Speaking Live. I go live every Thursday. There's no hiding behind editing on this program. So it might be a little bit slow paced when in moments like this. This is our fabric cover up. It's a vinyl embroidery topper that's permanent, and it allowed me to embroider on this 1/4 inch thick fur. It's actually faux fur, but super thick, thicker than the fur I use for my cat ears. The fur I use for my cat ears is minky. It's a messy little thing doing this part. The fur is really lifting up. Aw, it's so cute, isn't it? Don't fluff it up until you get all this stuff off. Now it's going to be harder because the fur's in the way. Whoops. Oh, I pulled the stitches. But we still have to go back in and do some more whiskers. It'll be interesting to see how I do that because it won't be in the hoop anymore. We'll be appliquing. Satinedge foot. That's how I can do it. Didn't need to do this part. It's amazing how many uses there are for my Satinedge foot. Holy moly. Come on. I'm pulling fur instead of the stabilizer. Don't want to do that. So with the Satinedge foot, we could do stitch over these to make it more pronounced without having to put it in the hoop. Actually, we could have just left the face there and stitched over it with the Satinedge foot. Trying to think of something. Excuse me. I really think my body doesn't like this fur when it goes in the air. I gotta mute for a second. All right. Stop pulling the fur out. Oh, goodness. So the minky fur is a lot easier than real fur. But isn't it nice to know that you could actually make a soft sculptured animal for someone and embroider? Like if you want to make an animal for your dog, putting buttons on it is not okay. So I made a bunny for my Tinkerbell. And I embroidered the face. I have a set of eyes to help you guys embroider eyes that I drew. And I think I'll add it to the school. That reminds me to mention something. When you get the octi-hoops and you watch the video, I talk about designs that you can print out, and they're basically PDF pages, and you print it out, and you can print it out on our stick and rinse stabilizer. Or if you see that butterfly that's up there, I embroidered that on the hold light by taping the hold light to the paper and then running it through the printer, inkjet only, inkjet printer. And then you take that and put it on your fabric and embroider over it, and it's like a colored template. So there's on our old site, because Creative Feed is, the new site is new and all of the documents are not there anymore. And someone emailed me, where are the designs that you mentioned in the video? So I added them to the school. And when you're in the school, let's see, let me show you where to look. Ah. Come on, mouse, go where I want you to go. All right, so when inside the school, we have, you're at home. So this is about what it'll look like when you're just logged into your account. And then on the left-hand side, go to Creator Groups. And this is where you'll see the Fabrically Speaking live group. Why didn't it, is this what it looks like? I don't remember it looking like this. Whose school is this anyway? It should be showing you the different groups. There we go. Oh, there it is. Now it looks normal. Then you want to join or click on octi-hoops. Well, I unmuted, but I guess I didn't push the button hard enough. So this is the Fabrically Speaking, no, it's not. This is the octi-hoop group. I went to, all right, let's start over. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze and I didn't unmute myself. So when you click on Creator Groups, the groups show up. Some of these groups are pay for groups and some of them are free. Masks is free. Fabrically Speaking Live Show is free. And these are the featured groups. And then you go down here and there's more. And this one will be opening. This one is open already. These are just regular groups, the not paid for. But there is a Creative Feed Techniques. I guess it's not in here. It's a course. Is it a course? Like I said, whose school is this? Creative Feed Techniques Extensive is a pay for, and so is Babbling Brook. And then this is the How to Paint Your Sewing Machine, which isn't showing yet, but it will be. And you'll be able to do this with me inside of the school. I mean, it's like buying the video on our website, but you can also chat with me inside of it. Creative Feed Teacher Certification will be coming up. The Science of Sewing and Quilting is a book I'm writing, and I keep saying I'll be opening these things soon, but I'm not going to say when. But if you find, okay, it must be in here, Creator Groups. I got distracted in my thoughts by something else. This is the Creative Feet Techniques Basics group. And this is the video on the Creative Feet. And you can watch it inside of here. And then chat about it. So this is another way of buying the video to support the feet, which is 61 different things you can do with the Creative Feet. But that's not why I was in here. I was in here to show you what. Oh, the free patterns. I just uploaded a bunch of free patterns in the octi-hoop page or group. So in the groups, you slide down and look for the octi-hoop logo. So slow. Come on, open. And then when you're in the group, on the left, you got topics. You can click on topics. So each group has its own topics. And sometimes there's more than, right now there's only, oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. What the heck? I must have clicked too soon. All right, it's more than it can bear. Look in the octi-hoops. When you're in the octi-hoop group, there we go. Then it's topics. And that's where you'll find the free patterns. And this is a bunch of patterns that you can print out, and they're PDF files. So these are PDFs, and you just click on them. And you can print right from the internet. Just click print. And this is actually a design that I drew for the painted sewing machine video, and I've made it available for you to use for the octi-hoops as well. So you can print that out onto our stabilizer, put it on your fabric, and sew over it instead of tracing designs. So enough of that. That's too slow moving. Get back to the fun stuff here. And I can always finish picking off more of that off camera, can't I? There's only a little bit left. Do any of you have any questions? You're doing the pumpkin? I want to see your pumpkins. 2 weeks ago, I did a pumpkin design. Little pumpkin. So that's a fun thing to do as well for the holidays. If you weren't here for that episode, I'm just going to do that, remove that after. I have to think this through a minute. Yeah. This is the only part I'm going to do free motion for embroidery. Now I'm going to remove this from the hoop. And as I do this, it's really being held on by the hold light. So pull toward the design and kind of spin it around. And it's really, stick and tear holds really well to the hold light, which is what makes this so great for embroidering t-shirts and sweatshirts and towels. Even with your embroidery machines, you iron this to the back of your garment, and then the stabilizer won't pull terry cloth loops out. And you're able, when you go to remove this entirely, the stick and tear that's still stuck to that will just come right off. I don't want to remove it yet because I need to do the applique still. I need to get this ironed back again. You don't get any kids in your area? Oh, here we go. So I went out and I bought the candy yesterday, and I just had this conversation with myself and said it does not exist. And I put it in the garage, out of sight, because it's been cool at night, so it shouldn't melt. And as long as it's out of sight, I don't think about it. And you just got to make sure that you give all of it away so you don't end up snacking on it. I was at Costco and they have adult candy right next to the Halloween candy. They are so aware that we snack on that candy. So they're like, okay, well, maybe they can avoid Skittles, but they aren't going to be able to resist this really luscious chocolate. And I resisted. I did not buy it. All right, so I'm a little cockeyed on my ears. So what I need to do is get the hold light secured to the main body of the fabric again. And if this is sticky at all, which it is, I'm going to put a little bit more hold light over that so it doesn't stick to the sewing machine when I applique. Tinkerbell's sneezing. See? We're both having this allergy to whatever it is. Actually, Chase was sneezing this morning too. This is the sneeze report. We really need that hold light for appliquing over fur, that's for sure. It's not laying flat because the fur's so thick. So these ears are made from minky, which is really thin fur. And the cat is 1/4 inch thick fur. So it is, I'm not able to iron it flat. All right. I'm going to get another piece of hold light to put over that applique area or that embroidery area. That's where I left it from last week. I've never tried ironing it to itself, so we'll see if this works. Yep, shiny side to the iron. It works. I think I did iron it to itself when we did the butterfly. It's like a ramp. It's so thick, the fur. Okay, now we can do the applique around the cat. Isn't that something? The fur is so fluffy, but you can still see all the eyes, all that embroidery. No, I don't use the wool mat. Mary, I mean, I have a couple wool mats here. The wool mat company sent me them. And I couldn't stand the smell. When you use steam, it smells like a wet, dirty animal, and it got on the fabric, and it really just, I don't like it. So I know some people do. This is a June Taylor, I believe. Yeah, June Taylor that I got at Walmart. And then I cover it with my own fabric because it's filthy. Something I used to travel with. On one side it's a cutting board and the other side's an ironing mat. That's what I've been using, but I did plan on teaching you guys how to make your own mat that will work kind of like the wool but won't be wool, so you don't have that stink. Man, this yarn got tangled. It wasn't tangled last week. This is a chenille yarn that you find in the stores that sell yarns for knitting. That's what I meant to say. This ear is not staying put. My left arm doesn't go all the way up anymore because I had surgery on it. I'm ear challenged today. Yeah. So, Mary, do you have a wool mat? Do any of you have the wool mat and agree that it stinks pretty bad? Maybe you didn't notice the smell. But he actually warned me. He goes, well, they do get it. It is animal, so it does have a smell if it gets wet. And I'm like, I use steam a lot. I just need a length long enough to go around the cat. Where's the end? See, this is what I'd have Amy do, because she said she'd clean something up for me. Didn't you, Amy? He said, I could be there and in there and help you. This was not tangled last week. Or was it? I think I remember talking about jewelry and going, it's just like all of a sudden it's just tangled. I want to make sure I have enough to go around twice in case I decide I want to go around twice. And I have this on a spool somewhere, but I have no idea where it is. It's just a little knot. I keep seeing my nose and thinking there's something on my face. Where's the other end? It's a comedy of affairs. Start asking questions so I have something, so it looks like I'm not disorganized in my lessons. Oh, this reminds me of Cat's Cradle in junior high. I used to go like this. Do you guys remember that? Now all I need are my jacks. And I'm back in elementary school, I think. Sitting on the ground playing with jacks. Where's the full piece of this so I don't have to do this? So fluffy. It was tangled last week, Amy. This is something I should have done during the week. Had I remembered. Can usually pull out a length. I remember measuring out the length though, but it. So I was thinking about how to quilt this, and I was thinking maybe a spiderweb design. But I was in the other room when I wasn't looking at it. Could I do a bunch of spiderweb shapes? Oh, come on. I just need the other end. Where is it? There it is. Welcome to Fabrically Speaking Live, where I go live and I cannot hide any of the things that I do wrong. Like not remember to untangle this yarn between last week and this week. One of the benefits of watching a live show is it's not rehearsed and planned out and stacks of already done things, is you get to see all of the processes that I go through. I would have your yarn ready so you don't have to wait, because it's frustrating to wait when you're this close to doing the fun part. Of course, it is all fun. I think that's the other end. It is the other end. Finally found it. Oops, sorry for hitting the mic. That's 1 yard. 2 yards. That's the knot again. It's definitely not more than 2 yards. If I can just get 2 yards of yarn without a knot. I'm losing it, you guys. I'm starting to lose my patience. I'm doing it. I'm about to cut this. Oh, it's coming out. All right, we got enough. All right, ready to start. I didn't have to cut it. I like that. I feel like I won something when that happens. Why is it upside down? So what I have to do now is applique, and the hat is going to be challenging to go over the tail, but I think I can do it with the Satinedge foot with our tricks that we have up our sleeve. So I'm probably going to stitch to this point, and I was thinking, if you're going to do this how I'm doing it and leaving the hat not stitched down in the front, that you should make your fabric overlap more. So make a note of that. The first part of the lesson was last week, and you'll see how I made the hat using the needle turn applique technique. But it's like no one's going to really see that. But then you could do a straight stitch all along the rim to make sure that it's going to last for years. Taking the free motion foot off that I used to embroider the eyes. I win the Patience Award for the day. Thank you. I could say that's the greatest gift God gave me, was my patience level. There have been many times when I have thought, well, you've watched, those of you who've seen me do some of these things. And I'm going to use the sequins and ribbon foot. What size guide should I use for this yarn? That's the decision that we have to make. And we have different guide options for this foot. I'm going to put my thing away. Oh, there it is. Okay. Which of the openings do you think this yarn should go in? You have 3 different openings there. You might think that it should go through the biggest opening because that's about how wide it is. But if it does, then when I steer the fabric like you drive your car, if the yarn can move within that opening, that tube opening, when I turn one way, it goes over to the other side. And I like to use this memory of Mary, the woman I invented the Satinedge foot for. She was born blind and deaf. And I would pick her up from her residence and bring her to the store where I taught her machine use instruction while she was taking tailoring classes at the Braille Institute. And so when I would turn to the left, I tapped her once on her leg for left turn and twice for right before I was going to make the turn, so she could kind of prepare for which direction her body would be moved, because she was not able to see. So her body kind of just reacted to the direction of the vehicle. And since yarn does not have a brain, you can't signal to it that you're going to turn to the left so that it can be ready to be moved to the left when you're turning that way. So what we want to do is we want to put it through the smallest possible opening that will still allow it to feed through. And in order to do that, in order to determine its true size, because it's kind of like how I feel when I'm standing in front of the mirror. I may look this size, but I'm that skinny girl still inside. So you take your yarn, you squish it between your fingers and roll it, and you feel how small the yarn really is. And it really is small enough to go through that small hole on the guide. I think we will try. But oh my goodness, how in the world am I going to get that yarn to go through that opening? Take a piece of thread and just lay it down. Then lay the yarn over the top of that. Whoops. And then bring the two ends of that thread together. And it kind of, because of the nap in the yarn, it gets stuck on the yarn. Now we're able to slide that thread through the opening. And then you take and pull the thread, and that yarn is stuck there and goes right through. Now that is two thicknesses of the yarn going through that opening. We pull that other end in, and now we just have one layer, and you can feel if it struggles to go through, then you want to go up to the next guide. But if it doesn't, that is the side. So just think how big or how thick a yarn you can use with this foot. When you go through your store where you see all your yarns, don't think that you have to go really small. And so say you want to do a baby blanket for someone who had a child, you can put yarn on the edge of the baby blanket and sew it in just a few minutes, because it takes so much less time to stitch around. And you can use this on flannel and minky as a hem or as a finished edge, as well as I have a napkin lesson in my YouTube channel where I use this on my Thanksgiving napkins, because when you rub your face with a napkin, it's really nice to have it be soft and fluffy. So be looking for the Thanksgiving napkin, where I actually take Thanksgiving themed fabric and I cut out a little bit and I stick it down with our liquid based glue, and then I free motioned applique it onto the napkin. It's a really fun project. Maybe we should do something like that for the next live. What do you think? Or should I do one more Halloween thing? Should I show you the spider web technique on a live episode? Do you want me to show you how to take a plain t-shirt and insert spider webs on it? That iron. It's such a noisy iron. So now I'm going to take this guide off and put this one on in its place. To do that, you simply turn this nut toward you until the nut falls off. Get that mic out of the way. And at some point, the guide just kind of drops off the foot. And you might drop it and go, oh no, the nut is going to run away. And it doesn't. It just stays there in the guide till you pull it out. Then you place it into the next guide, and you can see it holds really well into that guide. Now we're going to push in and turn. And this is what we're looking for. This little post needs to go into that slot. And there's instructions that come with the guides. And you just keep turning it until it's on. And now you have this range of movement or positioning that you can place the yarn in beneath the needle. And I'm just going to leave the purple thread on because it's so dark. The stitch I'm going to use is the 3-step zigzag stitch, also known as the tricot stitch, also known as the serpentine stitch on the Bernina sewing machine. And what I normally do is show you what the stitch looks like, since I can't switch cameras to the front of my machine. So you want to look at your machine and look for a stitch that has 3 stitches per zig and per zag. And it has several different names. serpentine on the Bernina. Instead of it being a sharp turn, it's a S shape, which is why they have it called serpentine. All of a sudden the live chat went down. Did you guys notice that? I guess you guys all want spider webs. Cool. I have no problem with that. That's a super easy thing for me to show you. Another octi-hoop. Fun thing to do. Hope I'm not spending too much time on the octi-hoops. Remember, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Now, before you go on your project, you really should see if the guide is in the proper position by trying it out on something else. But I'm not going to. Because I don't want to waste any of this yarn. Since part of the ear is going to be under the hat, I don't need to start at the top of the head of the cat. I'm going to start at the tip of the ear. And then I'm going to move the guide all the way to the left because I know that is correct for my machine with yarn. Boy, this machine's noisy as I lean my hands on it. Is the chat working? I guess it is working. All right, so the 3-step zigzag stitch will disappear in this yarn. You won't even be able to see it. I'm going to use a width that is 3.5 millimeters wide, and I'm going to use a length that's 3.0 millimeters long. Got to first choose the stitch. Now I'm going to go 4 millimeters wide because this yarn is at least 4 millimeters wide. But the length is 3 millimeters long, and that's a long length, isn't it? So tie a knot. Oh, I have my feed dogs down. Put my feed dogs back up. I understand, you know, especially years of, if you've ever tried free motion and suffered through not doing as well as you would have liked, that it would help to have more information from me. I'm going to go all the way to 4, maybe 5 on the length. This is, remember, 1/4 inch thick yarn. And I am trying to stitch on the edge so that I secure the cat to the back fabric. And I'm sorry you can't see better. Black on black is hard for a camera. So the goal is to watch in front and make sure that, so if I take the yarn and get it out of the way and look at the guide, now I can see that I'm on the cat. And the foot takes complete charge of the yarn. So I don't need to be doing that. I'm going to go back down to 3. So I'm trying to stay on the cat. Don't look at the yarn. Look at the guide and the fur. Or if you don't use fur, this would be easy peasy. You can use a variety of different stitch options. And I am going to show you a couple more stitch options on the rest of the cat. You lower your needle in this case and turn. The neck is there somewhere. I don't have this microphone in the right spot. Some people can't hear me. There we go. But what you're going to notice, the foot pressure is reduced all the way down. And if you don't know if yours is, you should be able to lift it like that with the screw. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of fuzz on my microphone. Batting fuzz that just got on my face because I bumped into it. Keep your eye there, watching the fabric. Notice that my hands are lifting the fabric up. I'm not doing this. And the stabilizer on the backside, the hold light, is so slippery that it makes the fabric slide easily on the bed of the machine. That's one of the hardest things of applique, is having your having your fabric stick to the bed of your machine when you try to turn. That's why you have to stop and lower your needle so much when you don't use our products. Keep your eye on the front. Get the yarn out of your way so you can see where you're going. This is really something. This fur is so thick. Gotta make sure I'm on it. Needle down. So how many times have I had to lower the needle to go around that shape? Just 4 times? Not bad, huh? Oh, there go the scissors on the floor. Furry. Have you guys ever seen anyone applique with fur this thick before? Up and lower the needle. I can't wait to see it. 5 times. 6 times. Do you see that? See how nice that looks? This makes me want to do some things that we've never done before. I could just see making some things for children. Maybe for your pets. Because I know if your pets are anything like mine, they like furry things. I just bought a new fuzzy blanket at Costco the other day. I made the mistake of throwing it into the dryer, and the fur on it was no longer fluffy or as soft as it was when I got it. Of course, it is a few years old. And the dogs, it was the cutest thing. I should have videotaped them. They were both like sliding around on it because it was super slippery fur. I think they would really love a, I don't know. I think I might have to come up with something. Another episode of Fabrically Speaking Live. I won't use this thick of fur though, I'll tell you that much. Yes, Sylvia, they do attach to all sewing machines. All you need is a zigzag stitch. I'll show you how it works on the Bernina. Then an adapter like this. This is available on our site. It's a low shank adapter. And this is the old Bernina, the old 830, and this is the new 830 style. Because Bernina had 2 830 models. One that does embroidery would be this squared off one, the BA100. If you have an old Bernina machine, and that means in the 70s, then you'd want the BA1000 model. And they're both available under the supplies link at creativefeet.com. If you have the new 830, you may have one of these. This is a snap-on adapter that's made by Bernina. And it allows you to snap our feet on. However, the Bernina reps don't really like it. They prefer to use this with our feet because our adapter holds better onto the bar. See how it doesn't wobble as much? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, Sylvia. Get that hat out of the way. Isn't it nice to not have to worry about the yarn? It's stuck. It can't escape the foot. This is the original couching foot before they started making them free motion. And I don't really like the free motion ones because because the feed dogs aren't engaged, so your stitches vary. And it's too much to think about. It's bad enough to do free motion, but then you throw in yarn into the mix, and it's hard for the brain. And you didn't really need that foot anyway, when our foot does such a good job of swirling around. After I do this, I'll take some fabric and spin around and show you how you can use it without applique as well. You can also quilt with yarn. Gosh, there's so much I haven't shown you guys yet. I stopped counting how many times I brought the needle down, but I'm sure I'm going around the tail. That's a lot more. Normally you would have to stop about every 1/4 inch to do an applique with that much. But you can see that I don't have to stop as often. And once again, I'm not pulling the fabric through. I'm letting the foot do the pulling through. It's part the stabilizer, the hold light, that makes it so that I can spin the fabric without having to stop as much. And in part, the base of this foot, the way I designed it, to not flip sequins over when you sew one row of sequins and then you want to sew over that row. Applique with yarn. Yeah, I can see your picture now, Mary. Mary and Mike. I like it when you guys put your picture on there. Here we go. Oh my. I started saying that a couple shows back. Boy, do I say it a lot now. If you start feeling like you need to pull the fabric, increase your stitch length. So I'm going to go to 4. And it's just a lot, I guess, for it to go over this 1/4 inch thick yarn and turn at the same time. Oh, I just love this look. This is the very first time I have ever appliqued with yarn. This is the liquid base that's holding that hat down. I thought I was going to cut the tail there, but I'm not going to, so peel it up and I'll lay it back down after. If any of you make this and you use fur, please share it. I want to hear what you think of the experience. I'm thrilled with it. I'm trying to think of what else we could use applique with fur for. Wow, I need to go back down now to 3 on the length. Yeah, so Sylvia, you want the one that's BA100. And if it says we're sold out, we're about to receive some. So it's okay to go ahead and order, because in fact they may arrive today. It's funny because we won't sell one for a while and then we'll sell like 3 in one day. I think Bernina groups get together and discover things at the same time. And then you can use all 3 of the creative feet with that one adapter. And our 3 feet are capable of 88 different things. That's why I'm able to have a live show every week and not show the same thing. I don't know if I'll ever show you everything that you can do in the live show. We will see. Almost done. And then I'm going to do the moon, I think. We'll see. Because we go whatever is furthest back usually. I should have done the moon first. Okay, so now I'm going to tie a knot, which is just a few stitches. Okay, you're having trouble seeing that you can quilt with yarn. Okay, I can use the scissors to cut the thread, but I'm still connected to the foot. And I'm going to show you because I don't feel the need to go around twice. I think that's adequate. I caught it. Looks good. All neat and tidy. Scissors. Oh, that's right. They fell on the floor. Okay, so cut the yarn close to the cat so I don't have to pull it back through the foot. Move that aside, and here I have some fabric that I quilted at a show with the octi-hoops. Now the stitch that I was using would not be attractive on the back side of a quilt. I'm going to show you anyway so you can see. So this is what we were doing, the exact same thing. And this is batting in between two layers. And it just glides over the quilt. But the back side has that stitch, 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 stitch look, right? We don't want that on the back. So we use just a straight stitch. Length of about 3. And a center needle position to get, but you may have to move your needle further to get your needle positioned. Now we're using a straight stitch. And so in essence, it's doing the same thing we do with just thread, except for we have yarn in the foot. Lower the needle, bring it back up, flip it over. I didn't have it lined up right. I went too far to the right. And then on the back side, you have a straight stitch, but you have yarn on the quilt itself. And here I missed because I didn't have it lined up right. Oh gosh, I did so bad. Let me just do a little more. I don't want to have you think it's not as good as it is. What happened was I actually stepped on the yarn. It was under my foot, stuck to my toe, and so it made it move and it made it pucker. I don't want you thinking that's what happens. And my foot pressure was not all the way to lowest. Length's a lot longer than I need it to be. If you use too long of a length, then you end up with you get puckers as well. This is also, I think, a really high loft batting. I don't think this is the traditional weight. It's not basted in any way as well. So that's why I'm using my hand in front and back, which I don't like to do. This would be good for a spray based. But see how you can't see any stitch at all? And then it's a straight stitch on the back. So that's what I mean by quilting. And if you wanted to, fuzzy batting flying through the air. Okay. Now I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. Wide. About a 6. Maybe able to go down to 5. I would use my liquid-based glue to secure it first. But here's the thing, you do it once, and you can do it again. And you would use the black thread and the needle and the bobbin. It's another way of binding. This is definitely like a really thick batting. It's not the traditional bamboo. I have no idea. I just grabbed it. Needle and bobbin thread being black. And then you have another way of finishing the edge of a quilt. All right, enough of that. I'm getting sidetracked. Got to finish the project. Wow, what is that? It's like some really, really, really thick batting. It's probably their 6-ounce doubled up. All right, so there's so much batting in the air now. Does that happen to you guys? Do you see the little batting pieces floating through the air? Oh my gosh, it's so cute. So the moon is next. Should I do the moon? Yeah, gotta do the moon. And then I was thinking I would like the stitch to show where I normally would do an invisible stitch using the needle turn under technique that I used for the moon. Because this is glow-in-the-dark thread, I am going to do a stitch that shows. I don't want it to take too long, so I'm going to use, I think, the blanket stitch. And maybe this yellow color. So it shows even when it's light out. You guys are quiet. Come on, start chatting in there. This is one of those spools they did differently. So this one, the wrapper's really tight, and then they have just the thread sticking out. So you pull on the thread and it slits till you get to the sticker. They didn't used to put the stickers on there. And that just, it's whisper quiet. You can't even hear it cutting through that. I don't know which is the new. I think this may be the new way. And that other spool was before. It's kind of cool. You're welcome, Amy. Something I do. I take my fingernails and I grab and I spin it. And then I open up both ends. Yeah, why aren't you guys talking? Amy's the only one. Where'd you all go? Did you go and get yourself a glass of wine? Thread in the machine. Have you guys done any blanket stitch applique before? And if any of you don't have a blanket stitch and wish you did, you can use a blind hem stitch and shorten the stitch length to get a similar look. Another stitch that I like to use in lieu of a blanket stitch is the shell tuck stitch. But the shell tuck stitch faces the other direction. But if you have a computerized machine that allows you to mirror your designs, you can mirror it and use your blanket stitch as use your shell tuck stitch as a blanket stitch. This is so cool to do with yarn. Not now. There's too much to teach you. So the yarn is actually wrapped around the wheel on my chair. Oh, I broke it. There we go. Okay. We're going to use the Satinedge foot for the stitch around the moon. That's my mind going, we could do something else. You could show them this. You could show them that. There's too many things for me to show you. I'm now going to put the pearls and piping foot on. No, I'm not. Satinedge foot. My mind was thinking about showing you three-dimensional applique. We'll save that for another day. This is the Satinedge foot, and it has a little wire that's connected to the guide. This is the foot I designed for the lady that was born blind and deaf that I talked about, to replace the need for a serger. Chunks of fur down in my throat plate. I feel like I should take it off just to kind of get a look. Because I was having a little difficulty with my stitching, all your sewing machine thread has to go through all the lint that's down there. Underneath your bobbin case and all around all that smush or smudge. So if your machine starts to shred thread a lot, this should be one of your first things that you do. And it would be a lot easier if I took the throat plate off right now, but I don't want to make you wait. Never blow into the machine. Always suck it out with a vacuum. If you blow lint down in your machine, it can get between gears and cause the machine to seize. Never oil the race, which is the shelf that is in that hook for the bobbin case to drop on top of, because this is Teflon, and if you oil it, then this slips and spins too fast, and then it causes it to push too hard against the spring right here. That's called your gib, and this is the gib gap between the two, between the bobbin case and that spring. It's an amount of pressure created by the spin of the rotary hook. This is only on rotary hook machines, so Bernina people don't pay attention. Or if you put your bobbin into a metal case and slide it in, it's totally different. You do need to oil those machines. Whoops, got to put the... So if you oil that, it will slide too easy, and it increases the pressure, and it makes your bobbin tension become erratic. I should, though, oil down in the hole, but I'm not going to do that right now. Do it later. Oh, yummy, the lint. Oh, butternut squash soup. Now I'm hungry. That sounds good. All right. Now you could use the same color thread, but I'm using the lingerie thread again in the bobbin. And this hat's going to go over that. So if I do a little of this stitch underneath there on that black fabric, it won't matter. So the least amount of tie-offs would be start here. Now the opening on this foot does limit you on how wide your zigzag can be. This foot does 27 things, so we can't complain that we can't go really, really wide with it when it does so many things, including give you perfect 1/4 inch seam allowances. So the stitch I'm using is a blanket stitch. And I'm using that instead of the shell tuck because it lays down more thread, and since it's glow-in-the-dark thread. So it's a stitch that looks like a backwards E repeating. But this stitch actually does a forward and reverse motion. So it goes forward, back, over, forward, back, and it creates this thicker amount of thread. It's going to be a challenge wherever the thick fur is. So doing this for the first time while you're all watching. I'm selecting that stitch. Gotta find it. Show me where you are, blanket stitch. I don't do this very often. Where are you? Whoops. Oh, I gotta calibrate the screen on this machine. I did shows, I would be like right on it. I know exactly where the stitch is. There it is. 2-03. And I'm using a 4 width, and I'm going to go 3.5 on the length because I like it to be further apart, especially when I'm going around this yarn. Bring the needle down in the position on a computerized machine. The first position it's in is the position that's going to go right off the edge. This is one time we do not want to swing over the wire on the foot. So here's the moon. Kinda. We want to bring the needle down so that it is exactly just like right off the edge of the fabric, and position the guide wire right next to it. So the needle's going to swing between the fabric and the guide wire. It's not going to go over it this time. For those of you who use it more, you know that that guide wire is what helps us steer straight. You can buy the thread. So you go to creativefeet.com, and then you go to products, and then you go on thread, and it's the Aurora thread line. So that's what you're looking for. I can show you. So creativefeet.com. Come on. Go to that. Come on, mouse. There's too much stuff on my mouse pad. Come on, mouse. Get over on this screen. There we go. So at creativefeet.com, you click on products, go to thread. And it's I really did want to show this again because I showed it last week. So there's the Aurora. Because you see the colors that we offer. But what you don't know is what they look like when they glow in the dark. There's not a lot of color options. Probably because they only have so many colors they can turn it into. So you see what it looks like when it's glowing in the dark. 3 of them almost look the same. I actually took this photo so that we knew for sure what these colors would end up translating into. I wish they could make them the same color. That would be cool if they could. Wouldn't it be nice if they could get lavender to glow lavender? And while there are other brands of glow-in-the-dark thread, this one really performs well. To be able to embroider with it is really, really exciting. Okay, so needle down in the position that the machine is already programmed to come down in for this machine, and every machine I've ever used with a blanket stitch that's got a computer in it is right off the edge of the fabric, is the stitch that sews off the edge of the fabric. And they engineered the blind hem stitch to be the stitch that's in the position that it bites, and it's just to help you set up yourself. I'm going to tie a knot. And I could pick it up and back it up, tie a knot again. And now once again, I hold my fabric like this, and I put my elbow down on the table. This is a nice pad that my arm is resting on. I also have this cute little elbow rest that I made that lets me put my elbow down on it. And I do that when I do free motion embroidery. I like to have a pillow under my elbow because usually with all other feet, your hands are generally having to push down from above and elbows lifted. So because our feet are made out of the material we make them out of, they slide over the fabric. So you're not going to feel that need to push or pull through. So instead we kind of cradle the fabric, making sure it doesn't get caught on anything on the surface. So this is the position that I'm in. Shoulders down. No, elbows down, shoulders relaxed. That's my little mantra. I say that to myself, and it helps me get my body in position, because for years and years and years before I invented the feet, I had to do the same thing. I had to lift my elbows to sew and get my face down there to see. So this, once the foot is set up, you don't have to pay attention to the needle anymore. It is fabulous. So now we'll go to that's the position I'm in as I sew this. And what my focus is on is not the needle, but right here where the guide and the fabric connect with one another. We want to just keep the guide right up against the edge of that. And before starting, you should check by turning the handle to make sure the needle, when it swings left and right, clears the opening in the foot. I know the settings for this machine. I'm going to go longer on the length because I'm dealing with the fur. So I'm going all the way to 5 right now, and I'm not going to leave it at 5. But where it has to back up and go up on that fur, I need to give it a little bit more help to do that. Once it drops off the fur, is I'm going to have trouble going back again. I need to stop then. Now take it down to 3. Hello, Conquering Mount Scrap Boar with Brenda. I love that name. Hello, Brenda from Canada. It's okay if you're late. I love that you guys feel that way. So now it's going to have trouble going up on the fur here. I'm going to go back up to 5 again. And this is how you can not push or pull your fabric through when dealing with different levels of fabric, and still have the stitch length appear to be the same. Now, where I want to tie a knot is when it's out here on the stitch that goes off the edge, and I'm there. So this is just really kind of the needle going up and down. To make it a knot, lift, move back, do some more, because this stitch will easily fall out if you don't tie a knot with it. Now, if I leave the bobbin thread connected and don't cut it, but just the needle thread, well, that'll keep it from falling out even more. Yeah, I have lingerie thread in a bobbin, and I never took it off. I never switched to black. So I have white lingerie thread in the bobbin. And one of the reasons I like using lingerie thread for the bobbin is that it automatically increases tension just using it in your bobbin. So I'm tying a knot. And what that means is that your bobbin thread is less likely to lift up with the needle. That's why even though I went all the way around the cat with black thread in the needle, or purple thread in the needle, and white thread in the bobbin, it stayed down. That bobbin thread is like tug of war, and it won't let that, no, I'm not going on top of that. I'm not going to peek up to the top. I'm lingerie thread. I'm the best for applique. Sorry, that's me getting wacky. It must be the 2 hour. Oh, it's after 2 hours. Jeez, I may not get to finish. I'm definitely not going to be, no, maybe I can. I don't know if I'm going to finish. Here's the thing, isn't it more fun that I teach you more techniques than if I finish the project? Because what I want to do is I want to do a spider web quilting technique. So the finishing of the binding and all of that, may save that for another lesson later on. Or I've already shown how to bind. It isn't me resisting showing you binding. I have fabulous methods for that you all can do perfect binding. I had somebody write me a really long email the other day. She was thanking me so much for the binding technique. And because she used to resist finishing her quilts, and now she finishes them. Actually, I get lots of emails like that. I wish they would all put their testimonials on our website, but sometimes they just like to send me a private little email. So where's my eye focus, you guys? Right here. And I'm just keeping the fabric touching it. And my elbow is down on my little cushion. I'm just kind of keeping the fabric up with my fingers, but not much. Do not look at the needle. It's just distracting. You can't watch that anyway. It's moving way too fast. So my goal is always to keep this fabric up against that, and it doesn't matter how much. The foot won't let you go too far to the right. It's really... Remember, I designed it for someone born blind. Zoom, zoom, zoom. This is going to glow in the dark, you guys. I'm going to try to get a picture of it, and I'll put it in the school with the lights out so you guys can see what it looks like in the dark, which I cannot wait to see for myself. Because even though I've had this thread for a couple of years, I have never used it in a project. I kept saying I want to use it in a project. Finally doing it. So there, do you see an X at the underneath the video? Bottom right hand side X. Mary, if you click on the X, you may have clicked on that X. So beneath the title of the video, you'll see live chat, and then you click on live chat and it gets you back in the live chat. Why am I holding this screwdriver? That was so uncomfortable. Actually think, just to know for sure that this thread's not going to show, I am going to stop and tie a knot right here. And I think I'm going to just leave it connected. And if it shows, I can snip it after, but I don't think it will. I don't know how you did that, Mary. Your chat's on the bottom instead of on the right. Oh, you probably have your phone or whatever you're watching it on not on landscape. So like you turn your phone to the side, to the other direction. All right, I can't watch the chat. Guys, help her out. See, when I'm looking, I have my phone, so I'm holding it like it's tall, and the chat is below the video because I don't need to see myself because I'm myself. I definitely need to take the machine in for service. It's skipping stitches. Such a bummer. The mechanic's going to make fun of me. Because they keep a count on how many stitches the machine has on it in between service, so they can really give you a hard time if you go longer. It's kind of like your mechanic. Time for an oil change. I cut the bobbin thread so you can get a good vision of that. See that stitch? So that's going to all glow against this, and I think it's going to light it up. We'll see. Next, I'm going to do a satin stitch applique because I'm trying to show you multiple methods of applique in one project. So we've done yarn applique, blanket stitch applique. Now I'm going to do a satin stitch applique. And I'm still not sure what I'm going to do here. Ooh, I have an idea what I'm going to do there. I know what I'm going to do. All right, so now that I know what I'm going to do, I got to not forget how I'm going to do it. So this is on top. That's the last thing we stitch. So this would be the next thing we stitch. Should I make it glow in the dark though? I think I should. I think I should utilize as much glow in the dark as I can. My ears are falling off. So should I use blue? Should I just have no ears and just have a nose for the rest of the video? All right. I just got to not like leave here and go somewhere and forget I have my nose and no ears. Well, blue, with all this blue, and I haven't used blue yet. I just used teal. Did I use blue? Oh yeah, I used blue on the whiskers. That would be a good time for, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then I'll finish the whiskers. Were you able to get the chat on the side again? I think it has to do with this little square. If you're on a computer screen, there's like a square and you can watch full screen, and then it moves the chat somewhere. I don't know. I am a mechanic, but Baby Lock likes me to have them service the machines. And I don't like getting my fingers dirty. I have a lot to do. I do maintenance on it, but this one it needs something done to it. It keeps thinking that the bobbin door is open, and so it needs... I never went through the mechanic training on this model. I stopped going to mechanic training years ago. Come on, go in there. Get on there. There we go. All these things to get around to thread the machine. No whining, Claire. Now, if anyone watches the video from this point forward, they're going to go, why does she have her face painted and no ears? The whiskers were blue, and the color around the eyes was teal. I should put my ears back on. It's going to bug me. Let's give it a try. Used to be I could do this real easy. When I was younger, I wore these a lot, these kind of slide-on clips. After the 2 hours, I start to melt. And we're past 2 hours today. This is usually a 2-hour program that never ends at 2 hours. Okay. Satin stitch applique is what I'm going to do now. So it'll be a solid stitch, and I'm going to follow this curve, which will be great for you guys to see how to handle a curve like that. Zigzag stitch, and I'm choosing... I like the one that doesn't tie the knot. I tie my own knot, thank you very much. 3 with going down to... Nope, I was going up. When I take this in to have him service it, I'm going to say, can you get rid of the noise? Because my other machine doesn't make noise. So I'm at a 0.4 length, and that's a very short stitch length. Which if you have a machine that doesn't have millimeter on the stitch length, but instead it says stitches per inch, you would increase your stitches. So you want more stitches to fill in the area of an inch is what that stands for. In this case, we're going to sew over, have one swing go on the fabric and one swing go off, but this time we're going to have the wire there, and the needle's going to swing from here to there. So it goes over the wire, and then the wire is what's going to ride along the edge of the fabric, preventing us from going up or from not going close enough, because your eye isn't going to be focused on the needle. It's going to be focused on the guide. And it's in the instructions that come with the foot. But, I know you guys, you try something once, then you put the booklet away and you go, whoops, I don't need to do that. That's the wrong button. There we go. I don't need to look at my instructions. I've done it before. And then you forget where the booklet is. I am going to be putting each one of the booklets that come with the feet in the school inside of the Creative Feet group. I thought about it today, and then you guys could flip through the pages if you lose your little booklet. But the book, the big 208 page book that I wrote for the Creative Feet will replace the need for those little booklets. Do I want that? So left swing goes on the fabric, right swing goes over. We always double check to make sure we didn't bend the sewing machine needle when we were setting up the foot. And it looks like I can go longer on the stitch length because it didn't move at all, and I'm not helping it. I want it to do the fading. Still short, 0.6 on the length. This is a thread I've never satin stitched with. I really think it is a little bit thicker than 40 weight. It may say it on the spool. Pretty sure it says 40 weight. I think it's like 30 weight. Now on the inside curve, we are going to stop more often. We want to stop on the outside swing. I mean, on the swing, on this end, well, you saw, left swing. I sometimes have to stop just because it's time to eat and my brain won't work anymore. So when I'm on an inside curve, I stop with the needle on the inside, is what I meant to say. On an outside swing, on an outside curve, I stop with the needle on the outside. Always stopping and raising the foot, because you can bend that wire and then break the sewing machine needle. Have any of you ever broken your needle doing applique? Yay. I fall asleep sometimes when I'm holding my phone, and then I wake up and my everything's all messed up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how'd I do that? How'd I move that? Sometimes I turn my phone all the way off and back on again to get back to what I was. So the inside curves are always a little bit more challenging on satin stitch applique than the outside. Now I'm going to turn a complete turn, and whenever that happens, you stop with the needle up, lift the foot, and push off the wire to disconnect the foot from the stitch. And I could have had my stitch closer, but at this point, I'm so far, and I didn't put my glasses on this whole time. Where are my glasses? There they are. So wear your glasses so you know how you're setting up your foot. If you get slack in the thread, see how it's kind of baggy? Then you just pull the thread back toward the spool and it'll tighten it back up again. So that's how someone asked in the school how to turn corners with a satin stitch, and that's in essence what you do. Now we watch here. Something got caught. Oh, my arm is resting on it. May have to get food. I don't have a shake ready. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Needle on the outside turn, lift. If you have a really sharp turn, then you may actually bend the wire, and then you're at risk of breaking your needle. So I stop more often the tighter the turn that I'm trying to achieve. And I'm going to use a different color to go around the purple, because it's purple. Where are the updates to the original workbook? No, there aren't any, but there will be the extensive course in the school. So it will go beyond and be different, but covering all three of the feet. So I'm gonna, should I just do black on the hat and not have it glow? Yeah, I think I feel that way. What do you guys think? I mean, that's cute, and this isn't gonna glow in the dark. I could do a stitch all the way around this hat, all the way around the brim with the glow in the dark thread. Ugh. It's one of the cool things about this foot, so. This is where I should be using the same thread in the bobbin, but I'm not going to. So I'm actually able to do this edge because it's not stitched down. It's the exact same setting that I use for applique, except for there's no bottom fabric. I'm just stitching on the edge. This fur is really thick. I don't know if you can see. Sorry if you can't see. I didn't anticipate all this fluff. Nor did I even plan for it to be this way. But doing a three-dimensional applique is really kind of cool. And this will really show the brim of the hat over the black cat in the dark. Could have done it shorter stitch length, but it would take longer. Well, I'm not going to cut this thread. I'm going to see if I can get away with it. Just to show you how brazen I am sometimes. That thread is, oh, the bobbin thread is interfering. I am going to have to cut it. But I'm cutting only the bobbin thread again. Can I just cut the bobbin thread? There we go. See how long that thread is? You guys would probably cut that thread, but I'm not going to. Pull it short. This is going to be a challenge because it's so thick. I don't know what stitch length to make it, so I'm going to guess. I'm going to go all the way to a 1.5 stitch length. You're getting hungry, Sharon? Oh, you're smelling your food. I make my dogs dog food now. And yesterday I made it after I fed them, and they were waiting as if they hadn't eaten yet. I'm like, you already ate. You're not getting another serving just because I'm cooking it right now. So I have no idea if this is even close to the right stitch length. I don't want to be pulling it through. I want the machine to do the work. I'm taking it to 2.5. And it's still like hesitating. But it looks pretty close to what I had. And I don't have the hat secured, which should have just used the liquid base and stuck it down. Oopsie, now I got to shorten it. Because on the way down the hill, so I go back to try to make it look the same. Okay, I'm getting off the fur, and there's going to be some interference right here. It's kind of like driving on a dirt road with divots in the road, and you don't want to just keep driving and hit one of those potholes and ruin your tire. And I should have just stopped there and gone around this. It's not laying the right way. But I'm already into it, so I'm just going to do it. But I'm going to leave it longer so I can go back over it. So all the way to the end, stop, lift, push off the wire, turn. Now I'll continue. Isn't it neat, you guys, having the hat like that? I love that. Okay, so shorten it back down. Go to a 7. Not sure if it's right. Sew a little bit. Looks similar to that. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do this. Lower the needle, and I really should just have this glued. Do what I say, not what I do. Definitely glue it, wait for it to dry, which it was before, but I unglued it to stitch it. I'm just at the point where I know I should save the rest for next week. You're all probably getting tired anyway, right? I couldn't believe that one time I went 6 hours that you guys were stuck with me for 6 hours. You having a cookout? See, I double checked to make sure I didn't shift anything. Now I'm going to tie knot. I have to finish the purple. Lots of stuff here. Still got to remove that. I can do that even after it's all done. So the next thing is going around this band and then preparing to quilt this. And I got another method of my darn ear fell off again. Gosh, I want to show you guys so bad. I don't think I can resist. Okay. You can applique while quilting free motion. Sometimes you just have to. And the brim of this hat is a perfect opportunity to do that. Isn't that adorable? I love it. It's just so cute. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Time to stop. All right, so I need some batting. Perfect. It must be meant to be. And I'm not going to back it yet. Can I do that? Okay, time to take all of this off. So I have to think, because once you take that off, it's like it's off. I can always teach you how to free motion applique another day. I'm going to go around the brim. I'm going to go around that because it's just I'm not thinking clear. In fact, the snowman mug rug is where I applique free motion. And I just happen to have it handy. So this is an applique, but this is appliqued free motion. So is his little hat. And these arms, you'd never be able to do that with fabric. That's embroidered. And this is applique with the foot. This is appliqued with the satinedge foot. This is pieced with the satinedge foot. Satin stitch all the way around with the satinedge foot. and then finalized with the pearls and piping foot. And this is a pattern on our site. And when you get the pattern, you get 2 snowmen stick and rinse already printed out for you. So this is a great project that you may want to do, which is available on our YouTube channel. It's a 2-part, I believe, lesson on making that. So I'm just going to go around this, and then I'm going to call it a day, and we'll finish next week because it's the right thing to do. And then that would make sense because next week I can probably do the spider webs and that. We will see. I am going to use a zigzag stitch, satin stitch to cover up because I did that other, but I'm going to make it a little bit more pronounced. I forgot to turn the air conditioner down or on or whatever. Stop with the needle down, lift. Now that much of a turn, I probably will be bending the pin at risk of breaking my needle. So instead I lift, push off the wire, put it back down again. And sometimes on the corner when you do that, you need to increase stitch length. When I glued this down or fused this down, I fused it down with a wrinkle in it. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Very, very light touch, not pushing down. Keep your eye focused on the guide, not the needle. So I'm using a little bit shorter stitch length on this than I did on the rest of it. Come down to the end, stop with the needle up, lift, push off the pin, turn. And now to have continuity, I'm going to go one more time around. And it's struggling a little bit. This is making it because of the thickness of the fur beneath there. Next week will be all about the spider webs. I'm going to do a spider web quilt pattern on here, and then I will spider web the shirt. But another thing we can do, you know how bands like this sometimes have like a stitch coming down to kind of show that there's a wrinkle in it? Tie a knot. And I'm going to tie a knot again. And this time I'm going to narrow the width down to really narrow. Hi Cindy, welcome. You're at the end of the video. I start at 2 Mountain Standard Time. And know this, you guys, when Halloween happens, the clocks, when you guys fall back, we don't. So whatever time it is right now, it's almost 5. I'm at the 3 o'clock, 3-hour mark of this show. I can't see. You have to really be able to see this, because we're using a width that's just a little bit wider. Oh, I never narrowed the width. I'm going to a 1.5 millimeter wide width, and the wire is 1 millimeter. And we're stitching over the wire on this foot, which is called the guide pin. It's a piano wire that's attached to the foot. And this allows me to do enhancements like the whiskers. This is what I wanted to do. I don't want to forget. If I do it now, I won't forget next week. So this allows me to create elements that don't tunnel. where normally the fabric would tunnel if you did a stitch across an applique. And tie knot. Going over those whiskers that I did with the cover up. And this is glow in the dark thread. And you can see this little hat lifts up above the cat, and this embroidery was done last week and in part this week. So you can see I have some whiskers there, but you can't really see them well enough. And they didn't go all the way out here, and the reason I did it first is because I had the stitch. I had a template to stitch over. When I designed this, I had no intention of making it fur. So I had challenges, and that's partly what's fun about my show, is it's live. And you guys get to see me problem solve. One and a half millimeter wide width over the 1 millimeter bar, which kind of acts like the cover up. It lifts the thread up. Now I'm coming out into the out into the sky, and the whisker will end out here. I'm going to back up a little bit and tie another knot. So see how now the whisker we'll try the top camera. See now how the whisker goes out to here, and you can see it a lot better. I'm going to do that before next week and finish up the whiskers, clean up all the cover up that is stuck on the fabric. And with that, because at some point every week I have to say goodbye. Remember, the cat ears is a video inside of my YouTube channel. If you see the header above the YouTube channel, and to get to my channel from the live feed, there's a circle with my face beneath the video. You click on it and it takes you to my channel where you can subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified every time I go live or upload any other pre-recorded videos. And I am tomorrow going to be filming how to sew patches on to a leather motorcycle vest, and I'm recording that and will be editing that. That will be my next uploaded video. So if you know anyone that needs a patch sewn onto anything, there's never going to be anything more challenging than sewing it onto a leather vest. So that's coming up. So be sure to subscribe and to hit the little bell. And then I do have a school called Create with Clare Rowley, found at create.clarerowley.com. All of the links for this is in the description of the video once I am no longer live. And today is October 7th of 2021, and this is Season 2, Episode 38 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I am really happy that you all joined me today for Part 2 of what is now going to be a 3-part series for making my Hello Kitty pattern, which is a free pattern that you can print out from the Fabrically Speaking group within my free school. Free. Sometimes things are free. And I appreciate you guys joining me. I'll see if there's any last minute questions before I say goodbye until next Thursday. Remember, you fall back. I don't. So I think you got one more episode where I'm the same time as you. But I will let you all know in the school when you guys fall back. I'll remind you guys. If you're never really sure what time it is in Arizona, type into your search engine, what time is it in Arizona? And it will tell you, because we don't change. You do. It's your state that causes all the trouble. So let's see. Hi, Iris. Anybody else that came late that I didn't recognize? Know that it was because my eyes were on the sewing. And I am making dinner tonight. I'm very excited. And I think that's it. So I think I said everything I say. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button after you get out of the live chat. That's where it really counts. And so other people know you liked it, including the YouTube algorithm. And I will see you next week. Bye. Love you all.